welcome to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with
Elizabeth Helly
and
the mayor, Tyler Hymanson.
The mayor. Only got one vote. Still the mayor. And we have a very special guest with us tonight. Maureen Lee Lenker is here with us, doing her 4th episode.
Woohoo! Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. For everyone who is hearing Maureen here for the first time, she is a senior writer at Entertainment Weekly and just had the release of her debut novel, It Happened One Fight, just really recently, like last month.
Yeah, in July.
Yeah, very exciting. Do you want to talk about the book? Yeah, let's do it.
Sure. Yeah, it is a screwball comedy, romantic comedy set in 1930s Hollywood, and it is about 2 fictional movie stars, Joan Davis and Dash Howard, who hate each other, but discover that they were accidentally married on set and have to go to Reno for 6 weeks to secure a divorce and make a movie while they're at it, because the studio doesn't want to waste 6 months of their time, 6 weeks of their time. And while they're in Reno, they discover that maybe they don't hate each other so much after all. And as you said, been out for about 2 months
2
now.
months, nice.
Yeah, had a really wonderful launch party at the Rip Bodice in Culver City, and just been enjoying doing events here and there as the opportunity arises. Got to introduce a screening of It Happened One Night at the Los Feliz 3, which the American Cinematheque operates, and that was super fun. So just loving getting to spend all this time in the classic Hollywood space.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I hope that everyone listening, goes out and, picks up this book. It is, the artwork is amazing.
Yeah.
It looks great on your shelf.
Yeah.
I read it in less than 24 hours.
I know.
Sped through it.
It's a page turner.
You texted me. I was like, wow, you read it really fast.
Unemployed. But no, actually, though, I didn't even read it. It wasn't like I was only reading. I did other things during that 24 hours. But no, it was so great and just really fun. And I was like, I just want to keep going. Let's do it. And I promise you that the romance is about 5,000 times better than the romance between Aristotle and Paris in this movie.
Yeah.
So
that's because it has the scenic backdrop of northern Nevada and not that boring old Greece.
Oh yes, Tyler is a Nevadan.
I was born in Reno.
Yes, yeah.
Well, Tyler, I want to hear your thoughts on it when you read it. Then I want to know if you feel like I got Reno right.
Absolutely. We discussed this last time, and I do have a copy of it, and I have not read it, but I also have not read anything, which is killing me in the past 2 months because my work is crazy at the moment, but soon to be over. So I'm excited to dive into it.
Yeah, but it's great. Everyone go get it. And I don't know if Maureen, you want to plug anywhere they should buy it or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a signed copy, I am doing quarterly signings at the Ripped Bodice in Culver City. So no matter where you are in the country or the world, you can order through the Ripped Bodice, and I go in every few months and sign whatever those pre-orders are, and then they will be shipped out to you signed. But if you're eager to get your hands on it right now, I would say go to your local independent bookstore and support them. You can definitely get it at Barnes & Noble and on the website that shall not be named. But I'm very pro supporting your indie bookstore. And if they don't have it there on the shelf, they can most likely order it for you. So support your local bookstore.
Yeah, and shout out to the Rip Bodice as well, because if you live in LA and have not been down there, it is a wonderful independent bookstore. And yes.
Yeah, the event was amazing. I went to the launch event. It was so cool. And I thought it was all Maureen's family and friends too. But then I was in line and the lady in front of me is like, "Oh my God, I'm so excited for this book. How did you find out about it?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, you don't know Maureen? Oh my God, she was just a lady that likes reading and was there in line ahead of me for your signature." I was so impressed. So
And Joanna Robinson, podcaster
Oh
extraordinaire.
my God, yeah, I fangirled out hardcore.
Incredible moderator. Eliz, your apples are her profile
I
picture
know.
on Twitter
Oh, her
now.
profile picture now? Oh my God, I brought her a bag of apples. It was an inside joke from her podcasts, and I was like, oh my God, hi. So anyway.
No, it was a really special night, and agree, Tyler. The Rip Bodice is just really cool place.
Yes.
Female-owned, queer-owned bookstore. Really inclusive, awesome, beautiful spot. And they just, in August, opened up a second location in Brooklyn.
Oh, nice.
So,
beautiful.
if you're
I did
on
not
the
know
East
that.
Coast, you can go there too.
Sweet.
Absolutely.
I'm just really excited because we don't often have like a truly like concrete way for like our listeners to go out and support something awesome that a guest and friend of like true friend of the show is doing. And this is like, you know, something easy. You can just go out and grab it. Yeah. Like they said, anywhere pretty much. And that would be awesome.
Yes.
I hope that someone, you know, listens to this and goes and checks it out.
Definitely.
Yes. Student loan payments are restarting. So
Yes.
please
Oh
sign us up.
God.
Yeah.
So true. So true. Oh boy. Well, you know, it's nice to catch up with our.
We deserve a vacation.
When are we going to go back to Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Or go back to Vegas?
Yeah.
Or go back to Orange County?
It's not much of a journey. I literally went there yesterday.
I'm on a flight tomorrow.
There you go. The whole family going? What? But, you know, guys, we're here to talk about my big, fat Greek wedding 3. They didn't, you know, I'm sorry, Eliz, they didn't turn the E's.
I know.
The E's into 3s or anything like that.
Yeah.
They missed out.
It's because in this franchise, the E's are the. Is it
They're
Sigma?
already,
Yeah. They can't make them
There's
3s.
too many already.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But they didn't do it. So, let's, we're here talking about the final movie for now. And why don't we just dive into it? Also, before we get into it, I'm going to say this is a movie that is in theaters right now. If you haven't seen the movie and are interested in it at all, like just go see it before listening to this because we're going to spoil everything.
Yeah, we're going to talk
probably.
about the whole movie.
We jump all around like we
Yeah.
do. So things will be spoiled right away. And there you go. Here we go to Greece.
A lot has happened since my big fat Greek wedding.
Like I never left.
My father passed away, and his last wish was for us to visit his childhood village and reconnect with our roots. So, we're having a reunion. We're going to Greece.
Oh, yeah.
2, 3, 4.
And by we, I mean the whole family.
Who wants souvlaki?
Paging souvlaki. Anybody by the name of souvlaki on this flight?
Aristotle, what
I didn't know you were going to be here.
are you doing here? I had an amazing date. She ghosted him.
Oh, yeah. Opa,
Is
indeed.
it possible? Did her dad pass away, or did he just fade to black and white?
Oh God. Okay.
No, wait. Okay, hold on. Before we even get into the movie,
Oh, right.
I need to ask
Maureen.
a question.
Yes.
Of Maureen. Maureen saw. We were talking before the podcast about how Maureen saw this movie really early, right? When did you see it?
In the middle of August.
Okay, here's my question for you. I doubt it, but when you saw it super early at a press screening or whatever, was there a full-on like previously on my big fat Greek wedding films recap prior to the movie starting?
I think there was.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Because I wrote an article that was basically that, and I think I took notes.
Oh,
during
nice.
that.
Right. It was a very interesting pick and choose of what happened. This is I saw it at AMC.
Okay.
And it was Nia Vardalos being like, here's what you missed on My Big Fat Greek Wedding, you know, like, and then talked about.
I just saw it at AMC, and that was not on my cut of the movie.
You weren't paying attention. You probably just came in late.
No,
or whatever.
I was there.
You were so bedazzled by Nicole that you didn't notice
No, it didn't happen.
Okay.
I thought that was super. I was like, I know that when you go to places like Alamo Drafthouse and stuff, they have like they have like their curated, pre-roll and stuff that sometimes is like recaps and things. But I've never seen this I don't think I've seen this happen before.
Not like that.
for a big
Usually there's
film.
like the awkward thing where like Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie are like, thanks for coming to the theater or whatever. But this was like her actually recapping the first two films.
It was like if for some reason you were coming to see this and you hadn't seen the other ones, like, we're catching you up.
And she exclusively talked about her sister's character, right?
No.
Okay, I don't know if you thought this, Eliz, but like when I saw it, I was like, I thought it was weird because it seemed like they weirdly like cut around her dad's character. Like, there's all these scenes and none of them were with him.
It was very weird. They talked about the Windex, but other than
But they
that,
never showed his face a single time.
I will say I got a full bottle of Windex in my press mail.
Amazing.
That's so cute. Yeah, we haven't talked about it on the previous episode, but ever since the second movie, they have done promotional things with Windex every single time.
There you go.
And various Greek like products.
I wonder if that actor's agent is just very much on the anti-AA train. It was just like
Maybe.
no face.
It was just weird because then he is depicted in
so you have this thing which may or may not have been exclusive to AMC or certain screenings, but then you have this opening. Well, okay. We should ask Maureen, first of all, what is sort of your relationship to this franchise?
Yes.
Like, did you see the first two? Did you like them? Did you hate them? Where are you in this?
Yeah, so I was a huge fan of the first movie.
Definitely.
I am not Greek, but I am Croatian, and I feel like Greek, Croatian, Italian, like all that Mediterranean blood has a lot of similarities and like family traditions and quirks. So I was still in grade school when the first movie came out, and I remember going to see it with my mom and my uncle, and we thought it was hilarious because it was exactly like a lot of family weddings we'd been to.
Yeah.
And so have always loved it for that. And then I weirdly did not see the second film because it was in like, I don't know, somehow I missed it.
You were seeing Batman versus Superman.
Exactly. And now I'm on to the third. I do want to say though, like, because we've already talked about the dad a little, that Michael Constantine is dead in actuality.
Yes.
He died in 2021 and he was already ill when Nia Varlos was writing this, and she had intended for it to be him traveling with the family back to his village. But at a certain point he was like, I'm not going to be able to make this movie, but like, you have my blessing, go on without me. And then this is kind of where they ended up.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
Mm-hmm. And then I didn't even I had heard of when Michael Constantine died. I knew that was going to be a big part of this, but I totally missed that Bruce Gray, like Ian's dad, also died in 2018.
Yeah.
Like right after the second movie came. I thought he was like still alive, and I just researched him like a week ago and somehow missed the died.
I did not know he died until they like showed his picture.
Right, and then I was like, did he actually die?
Weird.
He must have.
Very awkward and weird. So yeah, we come back to the family, and both patriarchs have passed on.
And like, we do need to talk a little bit more about how it's depicted in the opening
We
credits.
need to talk about the opening credits a lot.
Yeah.
It's like a whole opening credits sequence that you might see, I don't even know.
On iStockphoto.com.
Yeah.
Where it looks like they took random
It's stock footage of Greek food being cooked and presented.
Okay, I don't know that it is, and that made me very worried for the rest of the movie, and it was not proven out to me that it was not things that were shot.
And then we have a lot. I mean, I thought it was all Photoshop and stock footage, maybe not, but then... So they recently complained about this on the Filmcast, which is a podcast that we listen to. But the Portokalos family definitely comes from the Fast and Furious school of we hang up screenshots from our previous movies as family photos that no human person would have as family photos. It's like screenshots of random moments.
That's right.
Somehow that are now printed family photos. Including like additionally photoshopped ones so that we remember who the heck some of these people are. And it was just really bad. The opening credits were
But at
rough.
the same time, like, so I researched a lot about the second film in preparation for covering this. And like, in the second movie, Nick, her brother, has like a wife and kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they're just like gone
Yeah.
in this movie.
Yeah.
And he seems like he might be gay.
Well, that's I always thought that too, honestly, but that never.
But no, that's Joey Fatone.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joey Fatone's gay, but we don't see his husband either.
No.
But he's mentioned. Same guy.
Sure.
So, yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, he's like kind of like, I'm going to get away from my family and go on vacation by myself. But the thing's all about family, so it's really even weirder.
It's just super funny too, because we talked a lot last week about like, where's her sister? Like, what?
Athena.
Yeah.
And there's a whole line that Nick delivers, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, she's got like 6 kids. She's too busy. But like, he doesn't say anything about his kids. Like, he also has kids, but he's not too busy.
Well, it made more sense even in the second than it did in the second movie, because this time she's taking care of the mom,
right.
Lainey
That's
Kazan,
true.
who I don't know if she actually is having memory.
I don't think
issues in real life,
yeah.
but
she did a good job playing it.
Yeah, it was very. It was tough too, because it's like you see that, and if you've ever had anyone in your family like go through that, and it's even harder when there's somebody who likes to joke around like the mom was doing to her, because you're like you get whiplash
like,
going back and forth from being like I'm devastated to like I think I'm gonna pretend like I thought that was funny because you want me to laugh, but I really am devastated. Like, it was rough. That those scenes were some of the most hard-hitting parts of this movie, for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah. This movie is tonally a mess, though.
Right.
Yes,
Like,
it is.
Those scenes are a great example of why.
Yeah. It's really, really
So
hard.
serious.
But yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know, so it seems like Nia Vardalos' father or someone also maybe passed away based on the dedications at the end of the...
Her dad passed away the same year as Michael and Constantine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, clearly she's, working some things out, and I think that shows.
Which is why like it made sense for her to like tie it into her life again, because it's like, this just happened to me, and this is kind of what I would... Her actual dad always wanted to go back to his village.
Right,
too,
okay. However, that being said, the main premise for all of them to go back is to return... or to give a journal to his 3 childhood friends that apparently he did not keep in touch with at all.
But I mean,
and also, why do they want the journal? Like, shouldn't the family?
They don't speak a single word.
There is no bond greater than wearing old-timey clothes and kicking a leather ball around a fountain for some reason.
Also, like,
that's it. That's all we get of their friendship is just like, remember when we used to kick that ball?
Yeah, and remember when like we all wore like sepia-colored clothes and your one friend had a green shirt, and that's how the photo was?
There's like no sense of time or history in this movie, so I'm like, is this pre-World War II, during the war, post? I don't know.
Idea.
Like, what are these kids living under Mussolini?
There's so many
It's just
in
the
this
war.
movie. Everything's
the wars.
They talk
actually.
about the wars so much so that I'm like, is this the same war that they fought in Top Gun Maverick?
Right, yeah.
It's so vague. It's like, the wars. There's just so many wars. Like, I don't know.
Also,
it's incredibly funny.
I don't know if Nia Vardalos incorporated this purposely or not, but Rita Wilson, who's a producer, so can actually do interviews currently, was telling me that her mom had Alzheimer's or dementia, and that she had the very similar moments with her mom where it was like she'd be totally lucid one moment and not the next, but they would still be really funny because she'd be like, "Hi, Mom, it's me. It's your daughter." And she'd be like, "Which one?" And then she'd be like, "It's Rita." And then her mom would be like, "You're too pretty to be Rita."
That's really sweet. Okay, so we talked about the credits
talked about
trying
the title
to remind
sequence.
us about Athena, her older sister. But
Yes.
Justin and I were in the theater watching something else last week, and we were making fun of the really ridiculous poster for this movie. And Justin was like, who is this lady? Like pointing at the lady holding the fish.
Who's the lady with the fish?
I was like, that lady's been in all of them. She hasn't really had much lines.
Yes.
We don't know anything about her, but she's been in all of them so far. And Justin's like, nuh-uh, you're making that up. Like, whatever.
You mean the other aunt?
The other aunt, yes.
And
Never
so-
seen her in my life.
Okay, so I had this same thing where I was like, why is this aunt on this trip? I have no idea who she is.
Yeah.
I feel like I've never seen her before. Aunt Frida.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm with you, Justin. I was like, I don't believe you. I've never seen this.
I
woman
remember.
before
I was
in
just
my
like, she
life.
was like an extra that they've now elevated to being like a main character.
Also,
but they purposely put photos of her in the past films in the opening as well, so you could like just remember that like she was there at least.
I did like too that later in the movie I was like, there she is with the fish.
And
she's got that straw hat that like is like bent up. It's like it's an iconic look.
And you like so you
I should
had
carry a fish more often.
You had your phone up to call the same lawyers to be like false advertising and a damn moss, but nope, there she was, the fish.
I mean,
the poster was true.
It's we never really find out like how she is, if she even is really related.
she?
In the second movie, we were like, who is Vula related to? Like we didn't know, and they do make it explicit in this movie that she is the mom's sister.
Yes.
But she still is coming on this trip for the dad's family because, okay, then that's fair. That's fine,
just how they
whatever.
are, yeah.
But, like, who is Frida then? Is she his sister? Is she someone else? Like,
I don't know.
It's
She's
very
a cousin.
unclear.
yeah.
She's a
I guess
cousin.
the point is that anyone can be a cousin. Yeah.
Even the mayor.
Yeah.
I would really just kept wanting this to turn into Mamma Mia 2, though. I'm like,
Yes.
Yeah.
where's the musical number? I want a musical
Especially
number.
when they do have the wedding and they're dancing in processions, which they do in Mamma Mia as well for the bachelorette
We
party.
did joke at the end of our last episode that Pierce Brosnan shows up at the end of this movie and is like, we need to talk to you about the Mamma Mia initiative.
That would have really raised it in my estimation.
Yeah.
Do you know who your father is?
Yeah.
And then he flips over a card that says like Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, okay, so we do get some surprise daddy news in this movie as
That's
well.
true.
I guess that's like skipping forward a lot. I don't know if we want to like check in.
I just still like, honestly, I couldn't get over I felt that the opening credits with the fading to black thing, like on the two guys that died. Like, I felt like I was trying not to laugh in that moment.
It
when
was hard.
happened
It
in
was
the
rough.
credits.
I laughed.
Because the music is like, and it's
but
just like,
at least
and then it
you're-
fades, and I was like,
I'm gonna guess your screening worked because like mine paused and they had to restart it, so I had to watch it twice.
No.
No.
I will say that we went and saw it like at noon on a Friday, and it was like filled with a bunch of old ladies, and they were eating this movie up,
Well, that's nice.
enjoying the hell out of it, and some of them stayed all the way through the credits.
Wow.
I would definitely say that when I was watching it, I was like, my mom will enjoy this.
Yeah.
I will just, my theater experience, I just watched this movie. It's a Monday. I saw it at a 5 p.m. screening at the AMC Burbank.
Nice.
And there were two guys in their 20s sitting in front of us. That was just like, okay, interesting. And they one of them had a lot of questions about the Hunger Games trailer. And like they had a lot of opinions. But then like right before the movie started, they're like, all right, so like what happened in 2? And I'm like, what's happening?
Oh my god! You should ask them what their podcast is called.
You're absolutely correct.
I will, but Vula, like Andrea Martin is best in small doses. I feel, and so like I thought she was employed perfectly in the first film, where she's this like annoying aunt that sweeps in and has these great comedic moments, but is not one of the central characters of the film. And I just felt like there was way too much of her in this. Like,
Well, it actually got better than the second one.
Yeah,
because the
I
second one is
would
even worse, and she's doing the same gags over and over. And this one, she does some of the same gags, but she does other things too, and she, it's a little bit better. But yes, agreed.
The greatest thing about this movie is that the callbacks, in my opinion, have been dialed down.
Yes.
And there's actually like new jokes and new gags. They're like new gags that continue on through the movie.
There's new attempts at jokes.
Well,
yes.
you could say that about the entire series. But yeah. I'm just saying, like, they weren't immediately like, oh, let's spray Windex on everyone's eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a really restrained lack of Windex.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't see the second movie, but the second movie, like the first 30 to 40 minutes is like literally like a repeat of the first film with like callbacks left and right.
And I have to guess too that maybe the Windex is a immigrant, like a Greek American phenomenon. I mean, they may do it in Greece too, but my guess would be that it's something that the Greek community in America came up with. And so when they go back to Greece, like, we don't need to talk about Windex.
Yeah, like I have no doubt that came from her actual dad.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. But it was just like, it was refreshing to not completely repeat like actual like story beats and settings and setups and everything that was refreshing.
The thing is though that overall I think the biggest problem with this movie is that they just introduce way too many new things and try to touch on so many things. Like you've got like the Greek economy, war-torn areas, sustainable farming, refugee crisis, non-binary people,
baby daddies.
Yeah, baby daddies. You got how life is different for American college kids versus young kids in another country. You have
lovers,
right? Yeah, religion.
Yeah, I mean the Portokalos family, as we know, did solve the refugee crisis.
Right, they did. They did.
That's the.
We will fast forward to watching this movie, and I was like, wow, I really wish that it had done this, because like the refugee migrant story is incredibly underbaked in there. Like, I respect that they tried to do it.
Sure.
I almost wish, like, watching the movie at the end, I was like, wow, I actually really wish that this movie started with they retired to Greece, and the entire family's there, and it's the same Greek trying to marry a Syrian. And it is almost the inverse, where it's a brand new culture and a brand new, like, oh, there's all these different families, but we're all kind of the same. And she could have brought in a writer that, like, a co-writer from that from any culture, and do that. And I think that would have been a worthy and interesting sequel that plays on the phenomenon of the first one, where it's like, hey, here is this universal romantic comedy that brings us an insight to a different culture, and that would have been really cool. There's like 3 shots in the movie that tries to do this. and I found those compelling. I found those very interesting.
That was honestly probably my favorite storyline too. I wanted more from that.
Well, it's interesting because at the end of our last episode, we all tried to guess what the wedding would be in the third one. And thank God we didn't put any money or stakes on this bet. Because...
Well, how are we supposed to know it's going to be someone totally random?
No one guessed it was going to be 2 completely brand new characters. Including one guy who's only been in the family for about 5 minutes.
Yes. Yep. We wouldn't. It was impossible to predict that.
But yeah,
there could have been no wedding. I don't know.
So the "my" in the title is a Syrian refugee girl.
Yes. And a newly anointed cousin.
Yes. Okay.
I was honestly confused briefly about that, because I was like, wait a minute, isn't that her daughter or something? Like, I didn't know. Like, when I missed her introduction and like who she was.
I see. Yeah.
So like I missed somehow I don't know if I zoned out.
She
for a
said
second.
she was like a daughter to her until of course she wants to marry her grandson. Then it's like, oh, I hate
you. Then when they were like talking about I was like, wait, aren't they related? What the fuck?
No.
But that is the other thing this movie does. You're saying, oh no, wait, I hate you. This movie sets up conflicts only to immediately resolve them.
Yeah.
With literally 2 minutes of screen time.
That old woman was like basically them trying to replicate the grandmother from the first movie.
Oh my God. Okay. The grandmother from what the fuck happened to her? Like,
I assume she
must be dead.
She faded to black and white.
Okay, so she is. There is no actual like news about that actress passing away. There's like actually people like that have been asking on the internet, like, is she still alive? Like, what happened? And I wasn't able to actually find an answer. But like, she was still alive in like 2022 is the last I could find. So she would be 101 now. So I'm sure she's not working fine. But in the universe of the movie, to not even address like what the hell happened to her.
She actually became the Babadook.
Yeah, like we make a big deal that the two dads died, but we don't even mention what happened to Grandma, who was an even bigger character in the second one than she was in the first. So I just
she finally moved into that neighbor's basement.
Yeah. The neighbors being at the airport to send them off, that infuriated me. By the way. Like there's these 3 hateful white neighbors and that are in the second movie. One of them is in the first movie as well. And the 3 of them come to the airport to see them off in this movie. And I was like,
they're
what
probably
the hell?
hoping that they're leaving for good.
Yeah, maybe. I guess it was just crazy. Oh my god, that was a horrifying callback. I think they literally just put out the call to anyone who had been in any of the 2 movies. It was like, if you show up, you can be in the movie.
I honestly didn't even notice they were there.
Oh,
me neither.
Okay,
so you telling me this, I was like, oh really?
No, they were in the when that scene where Paris is like, oh my god, I'm trapped in this glass door. The 3 white neighbors were in there.
Yeah.
And those are probably like Nia Vardalos' Chicago friends or whatever. Right. And okay, great. But that made no sense.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
We have we get introduced to a lot of new characters. And I don't know, for me personally, I really liked Victory as a new character.
Sure, yeah, she was funny.
I enjoyed Victory, yes.
I liked her, like, super, and I don't know, like, again, we talked a little bit about non-binary, and I guess they never really confirm. Mm-hmm. They talk. Aunt Tula talks to her about what kind of clothes she wears.
And Vula, yeah.
Tula, yeah. She talks about what kind of clothes she wears.
And then they sort of do this thing where at the end, when they separate the dance between the men and the women, she like joins both groups or whatever. So yeah, okay, fine. But yeah, it was like, and I saw in the credits that they like consulted with GLAAD and everything, and so I was like, okay, sure, great. But I just thought that she were very funny.
Yeah. I thought that they were very. They had more charisma. Like again, a thing that carries over from 2 is the wooden goddamn acting that happens in this. Like the chemistry-less just. And I think that it's not about the acting, really. It's just about the random assemblage of scenes, of how a scene will start and stop. And we'll get into, there's some technical things about this that are just kind of crazy. But I did enjoy their performance, and I felt that they had some sort of charisma, some sort of magnetism.
And a character arc. Like, they were trying to do something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed when they were on screen.
Yeah.
I will say, though, I generally feel like John Corbett, blink twice if you need help.
We talked a little bit about that in the second movie. I was like, I don't feel like they have any chemistry. Like, are they even a couple? I don't know.
It's rough, and he doesn't really have much to do. There was this whole storyline about him talking with this monk, but then they don't really explain, like...
I thought the monk was going to turn out to be another relative.
Right.
And the monk was too young to know the history of the entire village.
Yeah.
I will say that John Corbett does have the best joke in the entire movie, but because this movie, and spoilers for the rating system, this movie has a insert shot of a rooster more times than any movie has any right to do. I think it happens 12 times. Like,
my God.
It's insane. And then like the 10th time he walks by and he's like, burr, burr, burr. And like he calls it out, makes fun of it. Genuinely hilarious.
I did like the scene with him and the old lady when, like, this village is on an island, and then he asks her, like, hey, which way to get to the beach? And she like looks around, like, she looks all around, and he goes like, this way now, and then she turns. And I just thought it was funny that was like, any way is to the beach because you're on an island.
But also, like, this village is all the way at the top of the mountain. Like, there is no path to the beach.
Right. I just thought that was funny that she was like fucking with him on that.
There's a storyline too that they try to keep it a secret for way too long, to the point where it's like nonsensical, of Nikki trying to bring the dad's ashes to Greece and like make them a part of the oldest tree in the town, like through this ashes into trees thing, which is a thing. And but like they try to make it seem like, he's got a secret, he doesn't want Tula to know this and that. But
this is why I thought he was gay.
Right. Yeah. Like that would have made more sense as a secret. Like I don't know why he wanted to keep it a secret. I don't know why they were worried about what the mom would say or what Tula would say. Like, he just wanted like a little bit of the ashes to put into this tree. Why is that controversial? I don't understand.
The conflicts in this movie do not hold any water at all.
Yeah.
No, Paris's whole thing that she doesn't want her parents to find out is also not. I get not wanting to tell your parents that you basically flunked your first year of college, but they make it a much bigger deal than it needs to be.
Also, it's been 5 years or something.
Right, yeah. I rolled my eyes because I was like, wait, is she going to come out and be a lesbian? And then I was like, no, like that's not what's going to happen. And then when it resolved into, because like there was the dance sequence and the refugee, and I was like, okay, is this what this movie's going to do?
Wait, why would her secret be that she was a lesbian if it came in a letter? Did you receive a letter like Harry Potter to be like,
well, you tested positive.
You're gay.
You're a lesbian, Harry.
She's like looking at the letter the whole time.
I understand.
Instead of an owl, a cat brings you.
Yeah.
You're into crystals now.
But also, that was very unclear to me. Like, is this supposed to pick up like a year after?
Right, and I guess they probably hand wavy COVID.
Everyone's so much older.
It's been a year apparently because she went off to college at the end of the second movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I did want to say regarding the tree, I thought it was a cool tree.
It was.
The tree looked really cool. Like when they finally did find the tree, I was like, wow, that looks awesome.
Yeah, looks pretty
cool tree.
Looks pretty old.
The village was cool too. Like where they shot on location was nice and like beautiful views. And going back to Mamma Mia, loved how they got the fountain working again. And everyone was dancing in the water.
Like, all you got to do is slightly move one rock and you're good.
And play ABBA.
So, slight technical thing, but it really bothered me of, like, you're talking about the views, and there's a lot of, like, beautiful vistas in this movie and slow pans. It seems like that somebody didn't understand that you need to, like, shoot a higher frame rate for slow motion, because, like, there's so many of these pans that, like, judder as they go across, and there's so many of these, like, it's this gorgeous vista that are just technically wrong in this movie. And I hate to call that out. I don't think that that's her responsibility as a director for that. Like there's many people on set that should be like, hey, that's not a thing. It's just very weird.
So technical stuff, and I like struggle with like if I should even say this or how to say it. Are we
talking about the multiple ADR scenes that are in this movie?
No, I did see that there was a lot of ADR studios in the credits though. Obviously being a woman sucks. Being a woman in the public eye sucks. And being a woman in the public eye, knowing your face is going to be on a gigantic screen sucks. And you should be able to do whatever you want regarding makeup or VFX makeup, which was very, very heavily used in this movie. Only on Nia Vardalos and nobody else. And maybe most people don't notice, but because we've watched these movies in exact succession and everyone else is aging like normal humans, but she looks really strange in some of the shots in this third movie. And I know that like the AI aided digital makeup is like a required thing in contracts for many movie stars now. And so I guess maybe they did that. Yeah. But like she could do whatever she wants, however she wants to look, but it just didn't seem necessary. And to me, it was distracting because it was pinging my uncanny valley moment because she was so smoothed out and like, and VFX'd in some of the shots, standing right next to the same guy we've seen her be in the past movie with, and it just looked very strange to me. So, I mean, like, do whatever you want, but also, like, maybe do it for everybody or nobody, or pick your battles more carefully, or, something. It was tough.
It's like when people take a photo of a classic movie star, which is probably already like very airbrushed and treated in the way they did then, but they like run it through a weird Instagram filter. Yeah. And it looked super strange. That was the vibe the whole time.
Yeah. And she looks great. Like in the intro when she was just talking to the camera and there was no VFX on that. And so then in the movie, she's so heavily VFX'd in some of these close-ups that I'm just like, oh my gosh. And they really did it mostly on her close-ups or 2 shots and then not in the group shots. So if you looked at her in the group shot, she looked visibly different than she did in the close-ups. And so it was tough, and maybe it's all in my head, but like I'm very sensitive to noticing that on screen, especially in the theater.
I think someone just wasn't holding her neck.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think
they got to green screen the hand out.
Yeah, I don't think it was as dramatic as perhaps for normal viewers, but I did have the thought of like, that's a really rough position to be in, like writing, directing, and starring in this.
Yeah.
And having control over that, and maybe not control, or just like either way, it bummed me out. A little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, like even do whatever you want, but like, it sucks that you should feel like you have to.
If it's
do
her
it,
choice, that's better. But like
Right.
she doesn't have to. And if it was pressured, that's even worse. And
So, but yes, the technical part of it, like, obviously this is not a big budget movie that's going to have the greatest VFX, team. I'm sure everyone who worked on it was great, but
this happens all in no matter
every movie has
movie, everything all the time.
Yeah.
Like that is not a specific thing for this movie at all.
Right. But yeah, like, I mean, it was like it almost looked like they were trying to like Star Wars de-age her in some of the scenes. I was like, oh my God, like,
I did not notice this at all.
Okay, I don't know.
I was like,
turns out she's Grand Moff Tarkin.
Oh God, no. Nothing could be that bad, but I don't know. I mean, my eyes are just like very sensitive to this. I'm always complaining about like, is the motion smoothing on? Did you put on digital something on the TV? Like any little thing like irks something in my brain with these uncanny valley.
Maybe if I went back and watched it again, which I probably won't, I would maybe notice it. But
we did briefly mention the ADR sequences in this movie,
sure.
And it seems like it's interesting what you said, Maureen, about her originally writing it for Michael Constantine to be there. And it seems like the plot of this movie changed dramatically in that they had to cut in a bunch of scenes that were ADR dialogue of people, and a lot of them seem to be around the water subplot. That they were like trying to make that a thing, but like there are many shots in this movie where it's people like you can't see their faces move, like you can't see their faces, and exposition being yelled, and then there is like the scene between Peter and Nikki where they're talking, where like their dialogue does not match at all to what they're saying.
It was a lot, yeah. And we should say, in case anyone's not watching the movie, they find out that their dad impregnated a lady before he met their mom and went to America.
Yeah. Tula has a brother.
And and it's kind of funny that she was like, oh, that's a good looking man.
He's so handsome.
They don't make it too gross. Like it's cute, I guess. But then it just really like, it's cool that they accept him right away. Even the mom back in America is like, bring him. Great. Let's meet him. She doesn't care. But it did really, to me, highlight how ludicrous it was about giving this diary to these 3 random old guys. How about you give it to his son who never knew him?
That
would be enough.
They learn that they have a brother they never knew, and then they're still fixated on getting this journal to these friends. It's like, don't you want to like hit pause on that and
these friends were so
get
close
to know your brother?
Yeah. They killed a guy back in the day. That's why they're so close.
Maybe,
so close.
It was like a Stand By Me.
They kicked a ball around.
I kept thinking too, like they kept showing the diary, and I was like, "There's only one page in this diary, though. The page that has the photo of the kids. There's nothing else in this diary." They keep showing every time they show it.
There was an entry about his secret love affair that we didn't get to read.
Yeah, seriously. That would have been in there. Come on.
I mean, it was kind of cool that the mom was like, "Oh, was that what's her name? Okay, that makes sense."
He talks in his sleep. Yeah, that was funny. I knew it. Yeah, that was funny.
I do really feel for Nia Vardalos beyond the like beauty pressures thing.
Yeah.
In that, I feel like this franchise is her legacy. Like she hasn't done a whole lot outside of it, and the things she has done have not been met with a lot of praise or success. And so I feel like her creating and starring in this is like the thing she will always be famous for. Like her obituary will be like Neo Vardalos, creator of My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yep.
And so then to have the pressure of doing all three things, directing, writing, and starring, adapting a movie with constantly fluctuating things between COVID, people that you wanted to be in the movie dying.
Yeah.
Trying to cover the political issues of the country that you're going to represent.
It just feels like
it's a lot.
Almost like she bit off more than she could chew, or she felt the pressure of like trying to get all of these things right, and because she was trying to do all of them, not a one of them is quite there.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's okay. What else is? I mean, there's a lot. Like for me, I enjoyed the kind of like emotional stuff about like trying to lay the dad to rest,
right?
And the stuff with the mom.
Nice.
And the mom was the stuff.
Anytime there was stuff with the mom, I was like, oh god. And I do think that like, I know we're like ripping a lot on things, but I do feel like if you are really invested in these characters, you're probably gonna get something out of this movie. Because they talk a little bit in the behind the scenes about how like, one of the reasons she did this story too is because she thinks like, if I'm going through this, people that probably started out with the first movie and are still following along are also going through the same issues. And I think there is something to like the fans of this movie and having also grown up at the same rate as Nia Vardalos and like, kind of dealing with these same issues and getting something out of the movie emotionally and just to check in with the characters. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably really hard to balance, too, when you have all these people that are depending on you for, like, their livelihood, and they're doing you a favor also by coming back. You want to give them all a moment, a really cool thing, a storyline to have on screen, and it just couldn't, like, say no to any idea, almost, in a way. But I did think it was cool. I did like, it's not a lot of it, but there's a lot of, like, comparing the lives of the three Greek young people with Paris and Aristotle or whatever. There's a scene where they're sitting there and they're like, yeah, we're going to revitalize the town. We're going to start a farm. We're going to get married. And then the guy's like, I hope I get a better roommate next semester. And it's true. It's like American. All of us have been like so. We're infantilized. Like whereas other kids in other countries or other economics or whatever, they have to like grow up right away.
Like real actual issues they're dealing with.
Yeah. So
I was like, oh god, that's what I would be saying too.
Right. I mean, like this girl is like the same age as Paris, and she's the mayor. There's like 6 people in the town, but still, like she is an elected official, and she is going to revitalize the town.
Save her village.
Yeah.
They're raising the prices of Hulu and Disney Plus next month. I don't know.
But my village hasn't had flowing water in 5 years.
It's rough. Oof.
Yeah, I did really. I do really like. For me, I was like. I enjoyed that there were some new characters, and I was like, Victory for me was like the MVP because I just loved like their like endlessly positive attitude, and I do think that they have the best like through line story of like, they just really want to like revitalize this town.
They have an arc
and trying to do whatever they can to make that happen, and the fact that like it actually kind of works in the end and. They get this moment of like, I did it. Like people came.
Right.
Like that moment when like the cars drive in during the wedding and they're just like, oh my God, like it worked.
They pull off something.
I thought that was good.
They pull off something that's really impressive as a performance in that they are like this one note joke in the beginning and that endless positivity. They're able to communicate a vulnerability to that. And like, I know this isn't going to work, but like, I also had to do it, and like to hold those things simultaneously in a performance is like difficult, and it does work.
They get the best new running gag about the selfies.
Yes,
taking a photo. You see her doing that with like
everybody.
More people like later on in the film, like in the background.
The best.
Number
like
one,
this.
the best.
Number one, the best.
Oh, that's the clip. Okay. How did you get that?
Yeah, how did you get that?
Clips online.
Oh, okay.
I have this clip too of them.
We are related.
through your papu's papu, who was a twin and married to my great-great Yaya's sister-in-law.
Right.
Yeah, I like what you said, Tyler, about she is kind of one of the only characters here with a real substantive arc.
Yeah.
Tula has one because she does get the journal to her dad's friends, but it just pales in comparison to saving a whole village and trying to revitalize the community.
Well, and then at some point she's like, you know what? I'm going to give up on the finding the dad's friends, and I'm going to throw it all to Nikki and Joey Fatone, and we're going to revitalize our marriage again and just sit and look at the sunset and, something. I don't know.
Which is fine.
Yeah, sure.
They couldn't have sex because there was no car to go into.
Right, I guess.
Yeah. It was weird that, like, at the end of the movie, they make a big deal about, like, because I feel like they didn't make a big enough deal early on about this whole head of the household thing. And then at the end, they're all like, big emotional, like, you're the head of the household now. And no, we're going to split the duties. And, like, I just feel like that wasn't totally earned.
It really wasn't. But I do really think that actor, I think
Joey
his name
Fatone.
is Louis Mandylor.
Yeah.
But he is very good whenever him and Nia across all three movies have their brother-sister moment.
He's great.
It is always really, really nice.
Yes,
and when he's
great.
doing the other stuff, he's shaving his nose hair or whatever, he's funny in it. But every time they finally have their, brother-sister moment, I'm always like, wow, that is so nice for some reason.
Yeah.
He's really great. He's great with her.
They have really great chemistry
Yeah.
playing brother and sister. Like, they really do feel like family and capture that relationship really well. But I agree, Justin, like, I wish they had threaded that in from the beginning, which would have been easy to do. Like, our patriarch has died. Like, now we feel sort of lost because we don't have a head of household. And, he's the glue that kept us together, yada, yada, yada. And then sort of earning that conclusion at the end of, like, now we all share this responsibility or whatnot.
Yeah.
I think that, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say one other thing that I that I thought was just weirdly done. When they finally, like, when it all comes out about the ashes and everyone agrees, like, yeah, we got to go do this. It's fine. They leave the wedding to go do it. Like, I understand. I get that it's at night, but, like, I thought it was weirdly depicted.
You leave the prom to go to the wedding.
I thought it was weirdly depicted.
You leave the wedding to go to a funeral.
The like pouring the ashes through the three hands, and it was like super close up, and I'm like, what exactly? Whose hands are these? Like, what's going on?
It was three members of the crew.
Yeah, I was like, I know, but I'm like, why does it got to be like pitch dark? It was just,
I don't know.
I didn't like
strange.
that.
Yeah.
I thought that was weirdly,
I think that the cardinal sin of this movie is that there are about 6 different interesting storylines that pop up at random times during the alleged 3 acts, and some of them are carried through as underbaked threads, and some of them are immediately resolved in the next scene.
Yeah.
I mean, the wedding, the aforementioned wedding that we're talking about, emerges that they're in love. Oh, wait, she's not Greek. And then it's like, oh, he's our brother. And then in the next scene, it's like, I'll hug you.
That goes by real quick.
It's insane.
I guess, I don't know. I was like, they also probably don't want to drag that out because that's like the same plot as the first movie where it's like,
but
it's totally different.
Yeah, and it's not dragging it out. It's just,
he has the same conversation like, oh, she's Xeno.
It's not
like, okay, like
it's
we
not
did
earned
this.
though. It's just he just kind of walks up and he's just like, okay,
and I think it's less like not wanting to repeat the first movie and more that's a really fraught, difficult subject.
Yes.
And she's making a light comedy. And kudos for attempting to include that. But then she felt, I think there was like sort of I need to fix this immediately because otherwise this movie is going to go in a radically different direction.
Otherwise it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's just like the thing that changes his mind is Nikki being like, eat something.
Right. I don't know. So, Maureen, you said that you interviewed Rita Wilson?
Mm-hmm.
So did she admit that she shamelessly just wants an Oscar nomination for this movie and brought in Diane Warren to write the song with her?
She did talk a lot about her song, and she and Diane have been friends for over 20 years.
Of course.
And have always wanted to write a song together. And this is a uniquely Greek and American fusion in a song. Yeah.
But she wants an Oscar nomination
Yeah.
automatically.
Look, it still feels, and I am a Swiftie, but it still feels less like grossly in your face than Taylor Swift trying to get a nomination for her All Too Well music video for Best Short Film.
Of course. Yeah, it's still part of it. It's still the Diane Warren formula. It's in the credits of the movie, and it's still a legitimate song and movie.
It's not. It's also in the movie, isn't it? Isn't it played during the wedding a little bit?
I think so. Yeah,
it probably does.
I did think that it was leaps and bounds better than her song from the second film.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even more mine. And I thought the music in general, I was happy that the music was more modern in this. It's obvious that maybe it's not obvious. I'm just glad it was of the time and not just more old timey.
Yeah, they had
Greek
some
music,
dance club remix of Greek music or whatever.
It was more like the modern Greek pop and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And that song's actually not so bad.
No, I know. I just think it's funny because of the whole Diane Warren thing and just every
year
year being nominated.
I was like,
yeah, Rita Wilson was like, Tom has enough nominations. It's time for me to get an Oscar nomination.
Dude, if that gets nominated, people are going to be like, that movie came out?
Oh. My theater was also full,
It didn't do very well this week.
Yeah, how did it do?
I think it made about $10 million, and it was behind Equalizer 3 and The Nun 2. So, maybe they should have invited the nun to the wedding.
Maybe that's what became of the grandmother.
That's right.
She became the nun.
She became the nun.
Not that.
I love tying more franchises to this series.
Yeah. It really would be an all-timer to do a Mamma Mia Greek Wedding crossover. It would be epic.
It really needs to happen. Even if it's just a, Funny or Die sketch or something like that.
Or when they used to do skits before the Oscars.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, that'd be great. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we get the rating system? Or do you have it? You got the rating system?
I have the rating system.
Is there anything else, Maureen, that you mentioned in your review or found out in your interviews?
No, not really. I think we pretty much covered it. I guess the only other thing I will say is that it was Rita Wilson who kind of just appointed Nia Vardalos as director. She was like, okay, we're doing this and you're directing, right? And Nia was like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for that. And apparently Rita really wanted her to direct the second movie. And she very adamantly was like, no, I really don't feel ready. But then on this one, I think she decided to give it a go.
Well, this was her second movie, right, that she's directed? She did the I Hate Valentine's Day that we talked about.
Oh, really?
I think she directed that. John Corbett
But
one.
yeah, that's great.
I mean, I think as a director, from the directing standpoint, there's nothing wrong with this movie. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, it's more just the overpacked story.
Tyler had issues with
Tyler had issues.
There are something, but again, like I said, there is not. It's not solely on her.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, right.
And I very much welcome and applaud Rita Wilson saying no, you're doing this. It's your story.
Yeah.
Take control of it. Tell it the way that you need to be. That you want to tell it.
She knows it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the rating system? What do you got?
How many insert shots of a rooster would you give My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3? This movie had more than the 10 that we allow on this scale.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I gave the second one a 4, right? Okay, yes. So I have to give this one a 5. It's a little better, but it's just it's fine. I mean, the only thing that really like annoyed me was just kind of the opening credits. Again, like I said, the horrible like we use screenshots from our movie as our family photos issue. It just totally takes me out of it. But you know, if Vin does it, why shouldn't we all? But yeah, so yeah, I give it a 5.
For me too, I was also like, it's going to be a 4.5 to a 5. Insert shots of a rooster.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry.
Because I also think that this is better than the second movie, which I feel like I did, you know, I gave it the second movie maybe a pretty charitable score, like we all kind of did, because of some of the things I had to say about, you know, marriage and parenting. But I think this one, for me, the fact that it just like did not have this endless string of callbacks was like, and new characters that were actually fun and interesting. I was like, thank God. Cause I was worried, honestly, that it was just going to be like, you guys remember all the stuff from the second, and I was like, what are they even going to call back to from the second movie? I guess they did bring back the neck thing from the second movie.
Yeah, sure.
But I was like, the second movie was already callback, so they can't call back to anything else. So I was just like, I'm glad that there was something new. I understand that like there's too much going on and they fumbled all these stories and like yeah, it's admirable that they tried to include the refugees thing, but at the same time, it's like, okay, do you need to have this in this movie? Is this the right movie for that? I don't know. But like I said earlier too, I do think that like if you're a fan of this franchise, the movie is getting bad reviews from critics, but I think that fans of the franchise will love this movie and really enjoy, you know, seeing a new chapter with these characters. Cause like some people like the first movie is like a really intense love for them, you know, and they really bonded with these characters. And I do think there is something to being able to see them grow and seeing what's going on with them, even if it's not put together in the greatest of packages. So I'm going to give it a 5 as well.
I'm gonna go 4 insert shots of a rooster. Fair. I think that's what I gave to. I feel like that as much has been added. I agree with everything you said. But I also think that this movie fails to deliver on being a movie. in a lot of ways.
But still a 4.
Because I do think that there's I agree. I think that if you like these characters, there's a lot going on here. There are strong emotional moments and scenes that work. I think that the characters, that there are things that happen with them that are interesting and that I appreciate. I just think that it's a little bit of a shambling mass that as I was watching it, I was just like, why is this happening? Oh, hold on. We didn't even like. I apologize.
What did we miss?
We will get to your ranking. We did not talk about them all running fully clothed into the sea.
Right.
I was just thinking about that.
God.
That was the moment where I was like, would they do this?
It made no sense.
I don't think they would do this.
That was one of those scenes where I was just like, oh, like we are unmoored from reality.
Well, unless they were like, this is a tradition that everybody does this at this beach or something like that, but it made no sense.
Yeah, I was like, when have anyone in this family ever showed that they are spontaneous, fun?
Yeah.
Like, let's just do it.
We also did not talk about the nude beach.
There's a nude beach.
Yeah. Well, and that was the other thing too, is like that felt very odd and out of character for everyone as well. And felt like it served absolutely no purpose.
It was also really weird for Paris because like her arc was not like
it was
like
cut
being uptight.
It was cut to be like some sort of character moment for Paris being like, yeah, I'm gonna get in the water.
It was
I'm gonna
literally
be nude.
a scene from The Awakening.
And
like
then everybody was there. It made no sense. Yeah, it made more sense for all those other people to go in the nude beach and be like, haha, than it did for her to like have this triumphant, like,
it was
fight. Like you expect the song Fight Song to be playing in the background as she's like getting in the water, you know? Like,
it was weird that we got like 2 scenes that were all about like, what tiny thing can we use to hide Nick's dick?
Yeah.
Because it happens when they're on that video call too, and he like doesn't hang up. I was like, that was weird, but whatever. Maureen, what did you think? What's your rating?
I'm also going to give it a 4 insert shots of rooster. Because I agree with everything everyone said. It's, if you like these characters, if you like this world, you will enjoy the movie. It has a heartwarming quality to it. The ending, as unearned as parts of it might be, lands emotionally, I think. Mm-hmm. And if this is the end of these movies, we don't know. I think it is kind of a nice note to go out on. But at the same time, like, the more I sit with it, like I went out being like, oh, that was nice. I enjoyed that. And then just the more time away from it, I'm like, wow, that was a real big mess.
Yeah.
So I think it sort of just becomes more and more evident what its problems are the further you get away from the sort of glow of immediately watching it. So yeah, not number one's the best.
Yeah. Fair. You talked about this, is it the last one? I have to imagine that there's going to be more.
Oh, wow. Really?
I mean,
well, now Aristotle and Paris have to get married.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, whether or not, like,
we're talking about a Max original here.
Yes.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, like, I imagine that for the studio, like, the brand has too much cachet for them not to make another thing.
And I mean, 10 is not bad for a rom-com. Like, if they can keep the budget down, which sadly more and more of these people are going to age out. And so, I
also imagine, like, I imagine at some point, like, Nia Vardalos, like, shepherding in, like, not like we're doing, like, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, The Next Generation or something.
Right.
But, like, maybe she'll help produce, like, another young voice or something. Like, using the brand to bring in new stories or something.
That would be nice.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I feel like they're not going to just let it sit. Because there's too many people that still recognize it and have the affection of the first film and everything. And something will come.
I do think that it's like a testament to this actress, Elena Kampouris, who plays Paris, that even though we learn almost nothing about her across both movies, she just has such a interesting, like, look, and she is very like charismatic that I'm like, I do kind of want to know. I would like to see a movie where she is actually the center and we can actually find out literally anything about her. And I would be willing to, like, hear more about it. And then the family is, hijinks can ensue around her.
She deserves better than Aristotle too.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, who is that guy? I that's just my thought coming out of it. I'm like, there will be something else. In the future.
Yeah.
And we'll be here to watch it.
It might be another 5 to 7 years, but
then maybe we won't be here. But whatever, we'll still watch it. Who are we kidding?
I mean, I would gather probably between COVID protocol and going on location to Greece, this probably was their costliest one.
Yeah.
But it's not like these movies are super expensive endeavors.
Yeah,
I mean, the first one was like a true independent film, like, success story.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they've strayed incredibly far from that in the last two. So that's another thing counting in its favor, that it's not only a brand people like, it seems relatively inexpensive to make these.
Yeah. They're just like, anything that's a known IP, it's not getting thrown away.
Sure.
Unless it's, like, super racist or something.
Even then, they'll find a way to read
it.
We're going to reclaim. We're going to take it back.
Boy, oh boy. There's a joke in my mind that I'm not going to do.
Okay.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, I think that's going to maybe bring us to the end here on the My Big Fat Greek Wedding series, which has been pretty fun, actually. It was a pretty short one, only 3. Normally, we're doing, like, longer stuff. But Maureen, thanks so much for being here with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, and make sure that, we talked about it at the top. We'll bring it up again here. Make sure you go out and pick up It Happened One Fight.
At your local bookstore.
Yes.
Yes. And check out Hollywoodography, which is my podcast. We're currently in our 3rd season, which is all about the films of Judy Garland.
Nice. Awesome. Good stuff. We're at the end here, but we have more coming. I don't know if you've been following the podcast for quite some time. you will know that it depends on how closely you follow. Okay, we have a couple check-ins coming in. We always,
That's right.
We always check in on franchises that release new things that are coming out either on TV, straight to video, or
on Max. They're the one to watch for HBO
on Netflix. Which is so we have a check-in coming in really quick.
We're talking about Netflix. We're talking about the Sci-Fi Channel, probably.
Yeah, yes, we're talking about first up in just 2 weeks, I believe. We get the premiere, believe it or not, of a brand new Spy Kids movie. Spy Kids Armageddon, coming to Netflix.
All right.
In a couple weeks. So we'll be talking about that. And so you won't miss us. We'll be off for 1 week and then back on.
Did Aerosmith do a song for that one too?
You know what? I hope so. I can't wait to find out. But you'll have to tune in.
Yeah,
exactly. You'll have to tune in a couple weeks to find out. But yeah, we'll be back for that. But, before we sign off here, Eliz, where can people reach out?
Yeah, email us. I almost said my personal email. No, email us at sequelrights@gmail.com or find us on Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Sequel Rights.
And rate and review wherever you're listening. Subscribe on Spotify. Everything else, we really appreciate it. 5 stars, all the rest.
You know what? And I got to do it one last time because this is what we've been doing at the end of every Greek wedding episode. And rest in peace, Michael Constantine.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you guys in a couple weeks for Spy Kids Armageddon. See you then.
Doesn't matter where we are, we're always close, we're never far from each other.